Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our system demo 25 Q1 for the quarter one of year 2025. So, welcome everyone, and let's do some housekeeping before to go into the detail of that system demo. So this session is a live stream and is being recorded, so it will be made available, the link will be made available through our corporate website, and please socialize the link if you have people who may be interested in that system demo. You will be able to ask questions and to give feedback via Slido, and we will go more in the detail how to do that in the coming slides. So I would like to remind you what's exactly a public system demo. So it's really the transparency in our agile way of working, which will allow you to see what has been built and delivered in the past 3 months, what we call a planning interval, a PI. And it's an opportunity for the user of those systems to give feedback, but also to ask questions or comments to the teams who have built the solution, to make sure we are building the right solution for you. And then it will be recorded and published on the email corporate website, as I already said. So the next public system demo will be the 26th of June, 2025. Please note, it has been already announced, it was the 25th, but we have to move to the 26th due to the scientific conference for the 30-year anniversary of the EMA. So please make sure you mark this date in your calendar, the 26th of June, 2025. So today for the agenda, we have a research and development and the product lifecycle value stream, who will show you some of their new delivery. We will see a nice train map from the data analytic platform. Then we'll have the PMS and the product UI. And after a coffee break at 10:05, we will move on EPI, EAF, and UPD before the closure around 11:25. We try to keep the time, the exact time, so people can join when they are only interested in one product. So it's really time boxed for this system demo, as usual, as for the other system demo. So how to use Slido? You have two options. You can use, first of all, you have a QR code or the number of the Slido just at the bottom, so the 9116064 or the QR code. And then you will have two options to give your feedback or to ask your question. You can use the Q&A, and those questions will be public. You may upvote them, and the top question will be answered verbally if time allows, because we are in a time box ceremony this morning. And anyway, if we don't have time to answer verbally, we will publish them, we will answer them in writing and publish them on the corporate website, where we have the link for this broadcast. If you don't want to be public with your feedback or question, you can use the poll, and then in that case, the question will go directly to the teams. It won't be public, and the team will try to contact you to give you an answer if needed. So make sure you identify yourself when you give a feedback through the poll. Make sure you choose the right room for the right product when you are using Slido. So each product of the demo have a room, so to make sure the question or feedback goes to the right team. Then the way we have organized the work at EMA, it's around value stream. Each value stream manage a set of system of products which are around the same business processes. And today we will start with research and development. That's the value stream where all the capabilities to support the development of new medicine and generation of scientific evidence are managed. So things like clinical trials or the data analytic platform to give the agency and the network the ability or capability to do data analytics on our data. So this is where all those products will be. And this is the first value stream we start this system demo. So we will start with the trial map from the data analytic platform, and because we are a little bit in advance, 30 seconds, I'm trying to fill the gaps. I will give the floor to Laura. Will you explain what's the ActEU and what's the trial map in the global picture of ActEU? Over to you, Laura.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Indeed, this is just to set the scene and give some context for the development of this trial map and present a few slides about ActEU. So this is a joint initiative of the EMA in collaboration with the European Commission and the heads of medicine agencies. Has been established in 2022 in January, so the same month of the implementation of the clinical trials regulation, and when the system CTIS went live, we also launched this new initiative to support the network on activities related to clinical trials. We can go to the next slide, please. The vision for ActEU is to have better, faster, and optimized clinical trials in the European Union with the intention to create a favorable environment for the clinical research. We can go to the next. So this slide is taken from the ActEU work plan. Is a document that is available on the ActEU website, and it covers deliverables in the short and medium term for 2025 and 2026, and gives you an idea of the macro areas and the priority actions that are described in the work plan. So you can see that the implementation of the clinical trials regulation still after 3 years from when it became applicable is still very important. So we are working together with the Commission and the Member States to facilitate implementation. But there is also a macro area on maximizing the impact of clinical trials. So everything that is related to the design and conduct of excellent clinical trials. And then we recognize that there are underpinning or cross-cutting activities supporting everything that we do. And one of them is about clinical trial analytics, so the analysis of data, in addition to training, of course, and all the communication aspect. We can go to the next slide, please. So just to give you some background on what you will see in the trial map that my colleague IJsbrand will provide soon with the demo. So this is coming really from the feedback from a workshop that we organized in January 2024 on data analytics, bringing together different stakeholders with a collective ambition. So to identify research priorities that maximize the value of clinical trials data to support evidence-based decision making. So the key takeaway from that event, for which there is also a report published in case you are interested in more details, was that access to data for patients and patients' organization is really critical to take informed decision and effective advocacy. So building on that, we have launched this year the trial map. We can go to the next slide. This is really a quote from a feedback that we got during that workshop that was really important for us to see how we could develop something that was user-friendly, particularly thinking about patients, organizations, and healthcare professionals, and patients in general, of course. So to have a simple patient-oriented dashboard available from CTIS, so from the public website of the Clinical Trial Information System, that patients, their carers, or a healthcare professional can use to locate potentially suitable trials for patients. So building on that, this map has been launched, and we can go to the next slide. It is the last one before we have a look at the functionalities. So this map has been integrated in the public portal with the intention to provide easy access to the information and increase fundability of the trials. One of the most frequent questions that we receive is about the language interface. At the moment, the first release is only available in English, but future improvements and new functionalities, including other languages, are also considered for the future. So I'll stop here. This was just to make an introduction, and then there will be the demo from IceBrand. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Good morning, everyone. Just share the screen. So yeah, it's with great pleasure today that I demo the trial map. As Laura already mentioned, what I'm about to show is a direct reaction to needs expressed by patient organizations at our workshop. The map itself was released on the 3rd of March, and also please take note that this is the first release of the map, and we are looking to improve it based on your feedback. Now, what we're looking at here is the public portal, CTIS public portal homepage. The regulatory network has been publishing data on EU clinical trials on CTIS since January of 2022. Now, what we can see at the top here is that there is a new feature, a banner telling us that we can find clinical trials on the map. So let's click on that. Now, here we see the map loading. And what we are seeing here is a complete overview of all trials which are published on the CTIS public portal. And maybe just before we go to the detailed functionalities of the map, let's review on a high level what the map does, which is one obvious thing and one less so. Now, the obvious thing is that it is trials which are on the map, so we can see where medical research is conducted. But behind the map is also a search engine with some features that aren't immediately obvious, but which will help patients find relevant trials. And that is the key theme here for us. It's about findability. Now, on the top left, we can see totals, namely total trials and sites. And we can see there are more trials than sites. And this might seem unintuitive to some. After all, a trial can sometimes run at multiple and sometimes even hundreds of sites. Now, this is, of course, explained by the fact that a same site is often used to run multiple trials, especially places such as academic hospitals, which might have many departments with many, many different ongoing trials at any point in time. In the bottom left, we see a legend with sites which are currently recruiting and those which are not recruiting. And on the left are a few filters, with most importantly a medical condition search, a tick box to only show recruiting, a country dropdown, and also a view sites by tool, which I'll get to in a moment. These instructions are also available here at the top under how to use the map. And at the bottom, there is a disclaimer. Importantly, this part of the disclaimer also has a form for you to leave your feedback. Now, say we are a user with an interest in diabetes. I can type diabetes, and the map will update, and it shows us diabetes trials which are registered in the public portal. Say I'm interested in seeing diabetes trials in Paris, I can just zoom into Paris, like you would in any map tool. And if I then want to know if I want to see which of these sites are recruiting, I can use the only show recruiting tick box on the left. If I then want to know about this site here in the north of Paris, I can click on it. And it will show me that there are 4 matching trials at this site. And indeed, I can see these are on diabetes. It also tells me the status of the trial, which is ongoing and recruiting. And it importantly has the investigator contact details at the bottom. This information that we see here is the exact same information that was already visible in the CTIS public portal. And we publish this information in accordance with the CTIS transparency rules. And maybe also worthwhile to note that while the investigator contact details are visible, we do encourage anyone who is interested in participating in a specific trial to first contact their healthcare professionals. Now, if I want to know more about this specific trial, I can then click on the EUCT ID at the top, and it will take me to the full record in the CTIS public portal, which has much more information, especially under this full trial information tab. Now, let me just reset the view of the map, because what we have here is, in fact, also a view of diabetes research in the EU at this particular point in time. Now, if I mouse over a country, I can see different counts of sites in specific countries. So for instance, France is 51 and see there are 71 in Spain. If I want to analyze Spain in more detail, I can go here to the drop-down, I can select Spain, I can zoom in. If I want to do somewhat more granular analysis, I can go to this drop-down here and click on region. And we can automatically see that while parts of Spain have good site coverage, especially the inland seems to have some gaps. So this tool, more than just helping you find sites, might also help specifically for advocacy purposes. If I want to extend that analysis, I might just be able to, I could just add another country here, such as France, and I can extend my analysis as like so. Now let's try another disease. So for instance, let's type, for instance, Becker's muscular dystrophy. And I searched, but unfortunately, the system tells me no results found. Now, if I look closely, I can see that I made a mistake while typing. So maybe it's not so surprising that the system tells us no results found. Fortunately, however, there is a suggestion which starts with, "Did you mean?" which we can click on. We see that the map actually ran the search properly this time, and I can click on one of the sites, and I can indeed see that Becker's muscular dystrophy popped up. Now, there's one other feature which supports that, again, that theme of findability. Say a user searches for hypertension. So the map updates and shows us hypertension trials. In this case, these are 94. I can click on one of these, and indeed, there's a hypertension trial. Now, a user might not always be expected to use the exact word hypertension, right? Instead, they might use the more common term, high blood pressure. So you see, I ran that search. It's returning the exact same 94 trials. And when I click on one of the sites, I can see that hypertension returned. So what just happened? When we ran the search using the layman's term high blood pressure, it was translated into the medical technical term hypertension, after which trials matching hypertension were returned. This is made possible by use of a medical dictionary. And for those of you listening who are interested, we are specifically making use of the consumer health vocabulary, which is through the UMLS Meta Thesaurus. Maybe one final example then, that also means that sometimes we can search by symptoms. So I can type in headache and the map will update. And if we click on one of these, we can see that headache returns trials specifically matching to migraine, which is of course one of its, probably its defining symptom. Maybe some closing remarks then. Like Laura already said, it is currently English only. We're looking to make it available in other EU languages, and we do very strongly ask you to provide feedback through our collection form, which can be accessed here at the disclaimer link. So let me then just end on thanking everyone who helped us shape the map and help us continue to support its further development. Yeah, and Laura and I think are ready to take a few questions. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Esbrand, for this very nice demo. Let's check. Yeah, so we have one question about the data related to the products used in the clinical trials. So they are tracked on the DAP, or is the DAP consuming data from PMS or any other system?
Yeah, well, I can maybe take that question. So let me just understand it. This application was built on top of the data analytics platform. This platform ingests multiple data sources, including PMS, OMS, I think, but also ingests data from the CTIS public portal. and specifically the public portal data, which it ingests every Sunday morning at around 3 a.m. or so. That data is used to update the map as you see it. I hope that clarifies.
I think the question is about the product you are displaying the information. Are those data coming from PMS and, of course,
Yeah.
suggested by the DEP?
Maybe I can expand on this related to the product using the clinical trials. So as Ijsbrand mentioned, what we are showing in the trial map is the information taken or in line with the CTIS public portal. CTIS itself consumes the data from the XCVMPD, so the Hydra Vigilance module, the database where we have the information on the medicinal product. So in the secure domain, CTIS is connected to the XCVMPD, then the information is published on the public portal and displayed in the trial map. So just to clarify the connection also with XCVMPD.
Oh,
In
thank you.
addition to other systems, as Ijsbrand explained, OMS for the organization details and IAM for the login details of the users. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Laura. And then we have a question, but I think Ijsbrand, you already answered that question during the demo. Huh? What if a user does not know that high blood pressure is hypertension? So how she will not see the result in the search?
It's a really good observation. I think it is something we need to work on, because it is indeed a little bit unintuitive if they do not expect that term. It would be nice to have functionality which then makes explicit that hypertension is returned because it is a related term to high blood pressure, right? To have some kind of user interface support to that end. So it's a great suggestion, and we will onboard it. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Laura and Ijsbrand. We don't have any more questions. So we are leaving the Slido a little bit on the screen because we are 3 minutes early. So before we move to the next product, we will do a small break to make sure people have time to join the system demo for the PMS and product UI. So thank you very much, Laura and Ijsbrand.
Thank you. Bye.
Wait, we have a new question. Just pop
okay.
up. So is there a possibility to select one particular clinical trial in EU and check if a similar trial is being conducted in other regions of the world?
Yeah, maybe clinicaltrials.gov can be of help there. I can start, maybe, I don't know if Ijsbrand then would like to complement. What we have in CTIS is only about clinical trials that are conducted in the European Union and regulated by the CTR. The information from CITES is also then fed into the WHO ICTRP and might appear also in clinicaltrials.gov managed by the NIH, that can contain information if the same trials is also conducted in other regions such as the US. I don't know, if you can add anything more than the reference.
I think that was quite comprehensive on the data side. I think from our side, from say like the development side of the map, it sounds like interesting functionality. It would be good to have a little bit more context for why you would find that interesting specifically, and it would be great maybe to, if you could leave that in the feedback form that we have at the disclaimer section.
So thank you very much, Laura and Ijsbrand, for those clear answers and the nice demo. And I think we just have a little bit of time before to move to the next value stream. Yeah. No.
You don't want? Yes or no?
Okay, so we are moving to the next value stream, which is the product lifecycle management, where we have all the capabilities to manage the authorization and lifecycle of the medicinal products and of certain medical devices. And before we move to PMS and product UI, I would like to remind for people who just joined how they can give feedback and comments through Slido. The first option is to use the Q&A, where your question and answer will be public. And of course, you may also upvote the question because we will take the top questions first, and we will try to answer, if time allows, to answer the question verbally after the demo. If we don't have time, the question will be available through a PDF, which we will publish on this event page on the corporate website. The second option is to use the poll, where your feedback will be shared only with the product team. The poll will be open until the 2nd of April, so you can give feedback even afterwards today. But if you want an answer, please identify yourself, and it will give the product team good feedback and suggestion about our priorities. Then don't forget to choose the right room, so your comment or feedback goes to the right team. And now I think we can move to the product management and the product user interface. And for that, I will give the floor to Marcos first for PMS and Veronica then for the product. Over to you, guys.
I will take both. Thank you,
sorry.
Jean-Michel. I will take both of them. So we can start with PMS. So if we go to the next slide, you will be able to see this is the roadmap that we already shared with the different activities that we have for marketing authorization holders and also for NCAs. So the main, I'm not going to focus a lot in this roadmap because we have already shared this a couple of times, but some information that is good for you in Q1, what we have released is the MVP for the enrichment process. So this product UI single write MVP for non-caps for marketing authorization holders. The idea is that by the end of Q2, we will release the write capability in UAT for the PMS API, and then in Q3 and Q4 we will be working on the putting into production the PMS API write capability. We will also be adding additional BI reports, so MA holders and national competence authorities can have access to additional data in these reports. We will also try to put to make available the export of the public dynamic report. So this export that for the moment contains all the medicinal products that are authorized, but is restricted because you cannot export this information. So we will try to make it available so everybody can export this information. Additionally, we will start working this quarter on the PMS public API. So hopefully during Q3 or Q4, we will be able to release this public API in production. Beyond 2025, we have additional work that is planned. So we will be updating or upgrading the Fire version of PMS to R5. We will also try to release the full PMS data model write capability in the API. We will be working on a practice sandbox, so MA holders that want to have access to the API can have a place where they can practice, and additional information will be provided whenever we make more decisions around this. And last but not least, something that people is really interested in is the XBMPD submission decommissioning. So this will happen beyond 2025. We will start planning. We already started planning this activity, but then in 2026 we will be additional activities, and we will see when the decommission of the XBMPD submissions can happen. We will provide additional information whenever this is available. We are still doing and having some internal discussions, so additional information will be provided. In the next slide, what I can show you here is the achievements that we did in this case for PMS. So as you know, there is a procurement process in place. We have changed the contractor that is helping us to deploy the PMS with the migrations, the different business rules, so the implementation of the PMS API. There was a change of the contractor, and during Q1, what we have done is the knowledge transfer between the former contractor and the new one. This knowledge transfer has already been completed. It has been successfully performed. That is why during Q1 in PMS, we were not able to release new functionalities because we were focused on this knowledge transfer. That is why, unfortunately, today we are not demoing anything for PMS because, as I said, we have not been able to implement anything new. But in Q2, we will again start implementing, doing some activities on data quality, etc. In the next slide, then we focus on the achievements that we have made for the product user interface. So as you all know, on January, the MVP for the enrichment process was delivered in production. That means that people can submit or edit product by product. They can submit the enrichment for using this functionality. It is just the MVP. You can just enrich product by product, but that is why we have the next achievement. So what we did in Q1 is start implementation of the bulk enrichment, the bulk functionality. This will allow you to copy the changes that you've made in one product and using the same changes or the same the same changes that you've done in one product, you can copy them into multiple products. That will save a lot of time to MA holders. So for example, if you have MRPs, DCPs, where the data that you need to submit is the same for multiple products, you can use this functionality and that will save a lot of time. Also, what we did during Q1 is some improvements on the MVP of the enrichment process. So, for example, we added the short names on the MBO list, and we have done a couple of improvements. That doesn't mean that we have finalized with the improvements. We are still gonna do some improvements on this process during Q2 this year. So in the next slide, what are we going to demo today for the product UI? Is related to the bulk update mainly. So first of all, we will show you the view and track the change request activities. So we have implemented a way that you can see in which step each of the product is. So you can have further information on the changes that have been submitted and also improve the traceability of the changes that you have applied to each product that you have selected. Moreover, based on the feedback that we received, we have included all the manufacturers, so active and inactive organizations from OMS, when you search for the manufacturers that you need to submit as part of the enrichment, and I'll show you this later. And additionally, what we will be showing, this is not implemented yet, and we are building it, is the first part of the bulk update functionality. So in this case, what we will be doing is we will select several products at the same time. We will apply the changes to one of these products, and then we will copy and paste these changes to other products that we have selected. This is what we call the bulk update. Again, it's not implemented yet. We are working on it. It's not finalized, but I will show you what we have implemented so far. So once I have said that, I'll take the presenter role and I will be sharing my screen. I hope you can see it now.
Yes, we can, Marcos. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the test environment that we have. So what I'm doing here is, as usual, you enter in the PLM portal, you go to the products of my organization. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to search for a specific DCP because I know that all the manufacturers for DCP are the same. So in this case, I have for this specific DCP that I have selected, I have two products. in 2 different countries where I have the same MA holder, the same log ID, so I have access to this product, to these 2 products. I'm gonna click on edit and I'm going to create this, the change request where I will need to include the a friendly name. So for example, bulk update demo 2025. I will create it, and what the system is going to do now is going to copy these 2 products. So I will be able to start making the changes that I have in my, that I need to submit, for example, to support the ESMP activities. It is taking today a bit longer than expected, but we will get into it. So the idea now is we have the change request details where I have the friendly name, the type is the enrichment. I can add a description. Usually what you see here is the products that we have selected, and we are preparing the request. So the system is copying these 2 products so we can make the changes. But you can also see these change request activities. This is something that we have added here. And what the system is going to show us here is the different steps. So right now, what the system is doing is the product preparation, is preparing these 2 products so I can make the changes. And in this case, the status is in progress. Once I progress with my change request, these activities or types, they will change. If I do the bulk update, it will show me here that, okay, the product has been, we have created the bulk update. So this type of activities, you see now this product is completed, but the other one is still in progress. Just for you to know, in order to improve the performance of this activity, we will include here some improvements. So instead of waiting for all the products to be prepared, we will just prepare the first one, and in the background, the system will be preparing the others. But we will be able to start the bulk update or the edit functionality before. So now that these 2 products are copied, I can click on continue. And I will go to the edit pages of the product UI. This is something that is going to work the same way as the single update that we have right now. The only difference is that now I can see multiple products here. I can select which one I want to edit first. I will keep this one. So let's see, for example, for the moment, we have implemented only the functionality on the bulk update for manufacturers. So this is what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to add a new manufacturer because this is what I'm doing with this enrichment process. And as I said, now you will be able to see also the inactive organizations from OMS. This is something that we received a request that people would like to see also these inactive organizations. So what you can do now is either search by the org ID or search by a log ID if you know it from OMS. You can also search, for example, for the name of the company if you know, and the system now will start looking for this specific name in the copy that we have from OMS. It might take a bit longer than expected because now we not only have the valid or the active organizations, but we also have the inactives. So the data, the amount of data that we have is a bit bigger. So we just need to wait until the system is going to give us, okay, these are all the organizations where this word with the, we have the asterisk here, so we can find it like in the address or in the name, this part. I'm going to take, for example, this organization, I'm going to select it and I save it. So now I have chosen my manufacturer, and I need to select the operation type linked to this manufacturer. In this case, I'm going to say, okay, let's choose one of them. One of the improvements that we have also done is with the confidentiality indicator, now here it's empty, but if we select the batch certificate, so we know this is a public one, the confidentiality indicator will be public by default, but if we change it, for example, to manufacturer of the active substance, now I will be able to change the confidentiality indicator. In this case, it's confidential. The start date, I'm going to put the 9th of March. I don't need to select the end date or the reference number, nor the effective date. And I need to select, because it's mandatory, this Medicines Regulatory Agency. I can already see a couple of questions about this. So we will be changing during this quarter the conformance of the Medicines Regulatory Agency. We will put it conditional. So only if you include the manufacturing authorization reference number, then the agency will become mandatory. Otherwise, the Medicines Regulatory Agency will not be mandatory and you don't need to populate this information. So we will be doing some improvements in this section. We have received the feedback and we listen to you. We will be updating this section. I'm going to include this operation time, and quickly I'm going to create another manufacturing business operation. So for example, let's say this is also the, I don't know, the batch certification. This is public. This is the date, and we select quickly an agency. And now we save it. So how the process is built right now, if I want to put the same manufacturer with the same business operations to the other product that is part of the same DCP, I would need to copy, go to the other product. I would need to enter the same data manually, which means that I can have like human errors, and we want to minimize that. So what we can do now is we can go to the change request details, and what I have is these options to say bulk. So what this will open a window, and I will be able to say, okay, I want to clone or copy. Which area we have the manufacturers or the package structure data. These are the two sections that marketing authorization holders are required to enrich right now. We have not developed the package structure data for the moment, so I cannot show you this. We are working on it, but I can show you the one for the manufacturers. So once I have clicked on this, I will see the manufacturers from that product that I selected, and I can say, okay, I want to copy the manufacturer and the different activities. So I can say, okay, I want to copy everything or not. And then what I can say is, okay, next. And here I will see the target product. So to which products I want to copy this information. In this case, I only have one because in my bulk update, I only had selected 2 products. So I can click here, and in next, I will have, okay, we will apply these changes. While we are applying, you will not be able to perform any additional change. That is okay. I can click on apply. So far, and this is here, the bulk operation is in process, and you can see here that I have another change request activity. So the bulk copy is in progress. It will not change. We have developed only until here, but we wanted to show you how this bulk update operation is going to look like. Hopefully, we will be able to show you more in next webinars for the bulk update, but this is in principle how it will look like, this bulk operation that we are building. I hope you like it. I hope it's going to be, I really think it's going to be very helpful for marketing authorization holders, because whenever they have these big DCPs or MRPs with a lot of products, they will need to submit the same information. So that will save a lot of time for them. So with this, I assume that we have a couple of questions that I already see in Slido. So Jean-Michel, the floor is yours. We can start replying to these questions.
Thank you very much, Marcos. So while we are going back to Slido, It's coming. So the first question is about data quality in PMS. Issue both present and absent as non-issue in the available documentation. Is EMA considering to work on data quality and fix all the issue as the tickets are not being answered? So looks like we have building up a backlog.
So we are replying to the tickets. We are, we have a team that is working on this, and we are really working on the tickets. So please bear with us because we are really taking care of them, because we know that people are having some issues with some products. So yes, we will also be focusing on data quality and fixing the issues that we have. As I told you, in Q1, we were not able to do new improvements. We were focusing on the bugs that we have for some products. Now in Q2, we have prioritized the bugs that we have. So for example, in 2 weeks, we will be solving the issue that we have with the authorize those forms. We will also be fixing the problem with some products on the transfers. We have a list of bugs, and we have already prioritized them, and we will be working on this in Q2. We will be updating the Q&A document, and also we will be releasing some updates on the newsletter. So please have a look at this document, because we will be providing information as soon as we fix some of the bugs that we have. It's a priority for us right now in Q2 to focus on these activities. Jean-Michel, you are muted, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Marcos, for your answer. The next question is about products which are in EXV-MPD but not in PMS, while those products are critical medicine, so they should be to be able to use in ESMP, I guess. So when this issue will be resolved?
Yeah. So again, this might be due to different things. The main one that I would say is this issue that we have with the authorize those form. It is explained in the PMS Q&A document. So if you have an authorize those form that is not correctly mapped, let's say in RMS, then it is not going to be visible in the product UI. We are fixing this bug in 2 weeks, so all these products that are not now in the product UI will be visible, and you will be able to enrich them and also check that they are correct. Additionally, you might need to check if the mapping between EXV-MPD and OMS is correct, and therefore the correct location ID is captured and you have the role for this company, because sometimes we have seen this issue that you are not able to see the products because you don't have the correct role or the correct access to the product UI. So you need to be a bit do a bit of investigation on this side. Otherwise, on ServiceNow, we are also replying and we are saying, yeah, if you send us the EV codes of the products, we can tell you, yeah, this is because the problem with the authorize those form, or hey, you don't have the correct role, you need to choose the correct role in IAM so you will be able to see the products. So these issues will be solved during this quarter, as we said.
Oh, thank you very much, Marcos. The next question is about the enrichment of a non-CAP critical medicine in 2025. Will this deadline be reviewed if the PMS API write capabilities is not in production until Q4 or close to end of 2025 to allow the MAH to use the API with enough time to update, I guess, their non-CAP critical medicine?
So this is a good question. So a couple of weeks ago, we did this first webinar to explain, okay, how the right PMS API should be implemented, that we need to do a UAT with some MA holders to make sure that it's working properly, and then we will open it in production so MA holders can just do their work to connect to the right PMS API and start doing the enrichment. This is a discussion that so if we will postpone this deadline, this is a discussion that we need to have with the ESMP colleagues, because at the end, they are the ones that are going to be using this data. For the moment, we are not moving the deadline, so everybody should work as the deadline that is established, that is December 2025. But again, we will be discussing this as soon as we know when can we perform the right PMS API UAT and when can we go into production. So please bear with us. We still need to have a couple of discussions internally, but for the moment, we are not moving this deadline. We need to discuss with the ESMP colleagues as well.
So thank you very much, Marcos. Then we have the next question is about we have multiple products above 300, so that's many, withdrawn, which are missing from the POI, excluding LIS, so I guess that's country. How to deal with it with EMA? Creating multiple tickets or one ticket for all the 300 products? Or can we do dummy update on withdrawal products?
Okay, so there might be two different reasons why you are not able to see this product. First of all, is because in the product UI, you have not filtered out the authorization status. So by default, the search is done only on valid products. So if you click on search, all these withdrawn, transferred, pending, etc., they will not be shown. You need to remove the filter in the product UI so all the authorization statuses are shown. That might be one of the reasons. I don't know if you've performed this or not. You can also use the dynamic reports in the product UI. There is no filter. So maybe you can also use this to try to find those products. The other reason might be because if these products are withdrawn, the MA holder that you have selected in XCBMPD is an old one. Maybe you have made changes on your organization. So you need to make sure that the EV code of the organization in XCBMPD is correctly mapped in OMS, and you have a role for that organization in the product UI. If you have checked all these information, everything is correct, and still you don't see your products, you can send us a ticket, and please, in an Excel, you can include the EV codes of this product. So we will be able to tell you what the problem is. But I would say most likely is one of these two issues, or not issues, these 2 points that I told you before. So please first do this check, and then if you are still not able to see them, you can let us know. Just one thing also, sorry to add, not valid transferred products from XCBMPD were not migrated in PMS. So maybe this is also something that you need to check. This is written in chapter 7. So maybe this number would be even less, but this is the process that you should follow.
So thank you very much, Marcos. Then the next question is about the mismatches between EXVMPD submission and then PMS data. So when do we data cleanse when per EXVMPD submission?
So here also the issue might be not our issue, but how the data was submitted to XCBMPD. So you might say, yeah, I have the same the same product or different EV codes for the same product in XCBMPD, but they have been migrated in different products, and that's why I have these duplicates. We have received this comment several times, and the issue was in XCBMPD because you have submitted different information in XCBMPD. For example, the active substance is different between these two records, or the strength, or the name of the product is different. So it is explained in chapter 7 how this migration was done. So you need to take into account this process and make sure that the data in XCBMPD is exactly the same. Otherwise, the system will recognize this as two different products. Now, if all the data is correct and still we have created two different records, then you can send us a ticket and we will review, because sometimes we just validate the product in XBMPD and it is reconciled and we will have only one product in PMS. So first of all, check that the data in XBMPD is correct. If not, update it. And if everything is correct, you can tell us and we will check what the issue is.
So thank you very much, Marcos. The next question is about the NP, how we will do bulk update around NP.
Yeah. So again, I mean, this is what I did is just a use case that you have an MRP or a DCP procedure. And I know that in this case, all my products have the same manufacturers. And I just use this MRP or DCP number to filter out. And then I selected these two products. You can do the same with 10 national products that have the same manufacturers or the same batch releaser only or whatever. You just need to select product by product. What I did in the demo is like, let's focus on this use case where I have a DCP, but it can be applied like different DCPs. You can select products from different DCPs. If the changes are the same, you will just select all of them, make the changes in one of the products, and then copy pasting these changes to all of them. So yeah, it was just a use case, but it can be used for different use cases like national products or whatever. Again, you are muted, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Marcos. Yes, it's so when the bulk update will be available to be pushed in production.
Yeah, so we are working now on the development. So what I showed you is we have developed the manufacturers, and until this step where we can say, okay, copy paste this. We will have also in UAT around this week the functionality for the structured data on pack sizes. We need to do a couple of checks on our side. We also want to include a couple of business rules for conflict resolution. So what happens if when I send the data to PMS, the version is in PMS is a different one. So it's a bit of business rules that we need to include. So by June, we want to perform a external UAT with our SMEs. Once this external UAT is successfully completed, there is no blocker, everything is working perfectly, we will deliver this bulk update functionality. So the idea, the estimates that we have right now is that this will happen around Q3. But again, we will provide you with additional information. The UAT is scheduled for June, and we need to perform the UAT with the SMEs and then release it in production.
Thank you very much, Marcos. So I think the next question is the same. So it will be Q3. Then so
and then the next question is also, so for, I showed you the functionality for the manufacturers and the business operation, because this is what we already have in UAT. The functionality for structured data on pack sizes is still in the development environment, so I cannot show you this. But again, this week, by the end of this week, we will have it in UAT. So it will be there in production as well for pack sizes and also for the manufacturers. And it will be at the same time.
So thank you very much, Marcos. Then we have a question about the limit of the numbers of products what can be edited in bulk.
Yeah.
At the same time.
That is a good question. So what we are discussing with the developers is like what would be the average number of products that people will be editing. Obviously, this is like the MVP of the bulk update, and then we will be providing improvements. Our suggestion right now is whenever we put it in production, just focus on MRPs and DCPs where you can have like 10, 20 products and don't do it for 100 products. This is because the performance will not be the best one. It will be sufficient. So the system will work properly with around 10, 20 products, but then we will be improving this performance as well. We are discussing also with the SMEs like, okay, let's focus on this topic on performance because it's very important. How many products, we are asking them, how many products do we have in an average MRP DCP? What would be a big bulk update change request that some ME holders might need? So we are working on these numbers with the SMEs as well.
So thank you very much. And then we have a question about the MBO level used in PMS and the one used in EF. Looks like it's not the same level. So which one should be used, or if there is an idea to make them the same?
Yeah, so this is already explained in chapter 3 of the EUIG, and you need to follow the same approach as in EAF. In EAF, they are selecting the granular level. So from this RMS list that is hierarchical, they use the lower level. You need to follow the same approach in PMS. But again, in chapter 3.2, sorry, in chapter 3 of the EUIG, you have the explanation on how to submit this information and also a table with the MBOs that are required in PMS. You have the names, you have the RMS IDs, so you have all the information there.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco. Then we have a question about the strength presentation field under ingredients. So it looks like it's not available in PMS, but in EXV MPD. So what do we do with that?
I think maybe you are not looking in the correct place. So if you go in the UI and you look for the section of ingredients, there you will not see the strength. You need to go to either the manufacturer item section and then ingredients, and then you will see the strength, or the pharmaceutical product. And inside the pharmaceutical product, on the ingredients, you will have the strength. This is because the main section for ingredients is just to say, these are my ingredients, and you don't say anything else. And then on the manufacturer item, you say, these are my ingredients for this specific manufacturer item with this strength. And the same on the pharmaceutical product. This is my pharmaceutical product with these ingredients, with this strength. So that's why if you are searching on the ingredient section as such, you will not see the strength, only the substance.
So thank you, Marcos. I like very much the next one. The confidential flag is by default public. So then you have to change it manually to confidential. So that it's a risk for the confidential information, the disclosure of confidential information. But
yeah, so here, it was changed. So if you select the batch releaser, it is automatically populated as public because this is a public business operation and it has to be public. And then I showed you the what happened if I need to change the business operation and change to a different one. Then the confidentiality indicator, it's editable because you might need to change it. I think here what we will do is include a business rule. If it's not included now, I don't remember, sorry. If the MBO is not the batch releaser and you put public, I think there is a message saying something. And if not, we will be including this as a business rule. So we make sure that confidential business operations are not submitted as public.
thank you. And then we have about a question about the Medicine Regulatory Agency field, which is set at mandatory.
Yeah, this is what I said when I was explaining in the demo. Right now it's set as mandatory, but what we will do is change this to conditional. This will be done this quarter. So it will be conditional. If you include a reference number, then the agency will be mandatory. If you leave the reference number empty, then the agency can also be left empty. And we will be doing this this quarter. We already received this feedback. We have discussed this with the SMEs, and this is the decision that we have agreed.
So thank you very much, Marcos. We'll take a last question before to go to a break. So we have a question about how to handle a regulatory agency until it's improved to the optional field. Will there be a dummy value?
No, so there is no dummy value. What you can do is, because you know which country has included this, has approved this manufacturer, you can select any location of this country. You will only see the regulatory agencies in this filter, so you can select any of the locations for this country. Whenever we remove this, the conformance that is mandatory, then you can also remove it. But for the moment, as it is a mandatory field, you need to select something. There is no dummy value. You can use any location there.
So thank you very much, Marcos, for your demonstration and all the many questions you have answered already, but we still have a lot of questions to be answered. So it will be answered by writing, and it will be published by PDF on our website on the event webpage of that system demo. And for people who wants even to see more, we have all those upcoming events. We have the Q&A clinics on PMS UI and API from March to June 2025. So every month you have at least one clinic. Then we will have a SPOR and EXV-MPD status update webinar, the 9th of April, 9th of July, and 8th of October. And then we will have a PMS Info Day, the 21st of May. So I guess you still have even more chance to ask more questions. So those will be answered, and then you have also more detailed information and more detailed questions you can ask during those events. Nothing you want to add, Marcos, for those events?
No, you are welcome. The clinics one is the main one, because there is where you can come and ask all the questions that you have. It's an hour where we will be replying to these questions. And then you can already register for the PMS Info Day. It's going to be very interesting with a lot of news, some demos. So we welcome you to register for this event as well.
So thank you very much, Marcos. And I think it's time to take a little break, and we will come back at 10:15 for the EPI, for the Electronic Product Information. Thank you very much. Welcome back to our system demo. So we're still in the product lifecycle management value stream, all the capabilities to manage the authorization and lifecycle of medicinal products and certain medical devices. And we will move to the electronic product information demo. For people who just join us, a small reminder how to use Slido. So you have two options to give your feedback to the team, either publicly, either privately. So if you choose to go public, we can upvote the questions, and the top question, if time permits, will be answered verbally. But if we don't have enough time, we will publish the written answers in our event page. If you want your feedback and comments to be private directly to the team, and if you want feedback on it, please identify yourself when you leave your comment or feedback. And this will be addressed directly to the team. Don't forget to choose or to switch to the correct room for the right product. So here we are talking about EPI. And without further ado, I will give the floor to Elizabeth. To you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to let you know what we've been up to for the last 3 months. So my name is Elizabeth, and I'm the EPI product owner from EMA. And today I'm going to be demoing along with Evan, the network product owner from the Spanish agency. And in the first slide, we're showing our achievements for this quarter. So we have been spending, as in previous PIs, a lot of effort on FHIR import, because this is going to be really one of the key core functionalities of the PLM portal. And also because we're hoping to have a user acceptance testing as soon as we're ready. So we're hoping to open to external stakeholders as soon as we're ready for a user acceptance testing. So what we have done initially was we tested FHIR import. So that's when the stakeholder will make their own electronic API and import it into the portal themselves. They won't use our editor. And we tested this first with a small group of testers, and we've been fixing the issues that they identified in the last PI. And also, we have updated the implementation guide. So the EU API Common Standard FHIR Implementation Guide is published at the PLM portal. And this is really a core resource for those stakeholders who want to make FHIR API compliant with the standard. Now, it's still in preview mode. So we're not doing formal versioning yet of that IG, and the reason is that we're still in full development, so there's still going to be little changes, but nevertheless, it's still a very good resource, and Evan is going to discuss it a little bit later on in the demo. We also added some examples, some new examples to the IG. And another interesting development is that stakeholders who have made their own FHIR API and want to validate it against the EU API Common Standard can do that locally. They don't need to have a special role and come to the PLM portal. They can do it on their own desktops. And we have a guide and a video showing how to do that. So Evan's going to talk about that later. So the second big achievement of the last quarter was that we worked on multiple procedure numbers. And this is functionality to allow the user to add multiple procedure numbers to an API. We up to now have had a field for procedure numbers, but only one procedure number could be entered. And during the pilot, we were also working with single procedures. So we were working with PIs which just had changes from one procedure. But of course, in the real world, multiple procedures affect the content of one API, so we needed to add that functionality. And it's now there, and also the multiple procedure numbers will be reflected in the FHIR message. A third important achievement is that we have prepared a reflection paper. I'm going to talk about that a little more after this, and it will be published next week. And it's timely because it is time to prepare for API implementation by putting in place strategies to actually get the API, once it's published, into the hands of patients and healthcare professionals. So the paper is on realizing the benefits of API and delivering it to the patients, as I mentioned. But the important thing to note is that it's going to be open for public consultation. So it's going to be on the EMA website, and it's possible for anybody who wants to read through the paper and give us their comments, and they will then be taken into consideration. So there will be a 3-month public consultation period for the paper. So let's move to the next slide, please, where I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about the paper. So the paper that we're going to publish is on the topic of linking to electronic product information from EU medicine packages. And we have been discussing over the years, of course, and the reasons behind this initiative and the benefits that EPI will provide. And key among these benefits that we've spoken about and expressed to stakeholders and had feedback from stakeholders many times is that we want EPI to provide access to the medicines information at the point of need. We want to support EU citizens when they access medicines information in other countries. So they may be traveling or working in other countries, and we want them to be able to get their medicines information under all those circumstances. And very importantly, we want to support access to the medicines information when stocks move between countries. So to facilitate the movement of stocks between countries under circumstances such as mitigation of medicine shortages. But those benefits cannot be achieved from EPI data in a repository. And that is what this paper is about. So this paper outlines how the existing data matrix code on the pack, which you can see here on the left of the slide, could be in a scenario for accessing information. This could be scanned either with an app or with, hopefully in future, directly with the camera on the consumer's phone or device. And then the data matrix code, which carries a number called a data carrier identifier. This number can be matched to the data carrier identifier in the EPI. And then this would enable the electronic leaflet to be displayed on the phone of the patient. And as you know, we will have a repository, a FHIR repository, which can be the source of truth for electronic product information. And just to note regarding the number or the data carrier identifier that I'm mentioning there, if you recall, in our last system demo in December, we demoed the ability to link the EPI to these numbers. So our EPI in our repository will be linked to the data carrier identifier, and that will appear in the FHIR. So that would enable this scenario that we're describing here. Now, this is not new. There are well-established national solutions to access information by scanning the data matrix code, which is very encouraging, but in very, very few EU countries. So we are advocating that we should have an EU-wide solution to complement the existing national solutions already available, and this would support the benefits that I mentioned earlier on. So the reflection paper on this topic is very important because without a vision and a strategy and action on this point at this stage, we do have a risk of undermining the work of the network that we have been describing in the previous system demos. So as I mentioned, the paper will be published, the target date for publications is 31st, and it will be open for consultation for a period of 3 months. So next slide, please. So now I'm going to share my screen and show you the multiple procedure numbers feature. So I hope you can see my screen. I'm sure someone will tell me if not.
Yes, Libby, we
So
can. Thank you.
thank you for the reassurance. So I'm logged in here to the portal as an applicant, so as a company. And usually where you go when you log in is to the EPI list. And you can see all your EPIs that are in all your different statuses. And here I'm in the list of draft EPIs, and I'm selected here in the menu to create a new EPI. So there is a page that appears. It appears once when you create a new EPI, and you fill in some details about the EPI that you want to create. And you mention what company you are coming from. And previously, and some of our users from UATs and from the pilot will be aware of this, here when we had procedure number, we had one field like this where you could enter the procedure number. So now we have the functionality where you can add multiple procedure numbers. Like so. And you could save the procedure numbers here. And just to note also, I always worry myself when I'm working in fields like this, there are certain characters that are allowed in the field, and this will prevent mistakes when entering the procedure number. For example, it won't be possible to have accidental trailing space. So now we can save. And then you can see here in your interface that you have one procedure number, and you also have +2 to indicate that there's 2 more procedure numbers, and you also have an arrow where you can view the procedure numbers. And just to cover the point that, of course, it may be that you create the EPI sometime in advance, and you don't, at the point of creation of the EPI, know what the procedure number is. So let's go back to the list. Of course, you can create your API and you can work in your draft of your API for as long as you need to up until submission. And here is an API that doesn't yet have a procedure number. So it's always possible when your API is in a draft status to go and add your procedure number. And this bar appears, so this is, as I mentioned, the previous page just appears when you're creating a new API, but this page, you always can go back into this page for every API, and it's your Manage API page, and you always have this bar on top, and you can add additional procedure numbers or remove procedure numbers or so on here. This is, now I'm going to pass you over to Evan, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the FHIR aspects and the changes that we've made in FHIR. And this is going to be very important, particularly for those who are interested potentially in participating in a future UAT. So I'll pass over to you now, Evan.
Thank you so much, Libby. Hello, everyone. Good morning. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Right, I'm sharing my screen. I hope everyone can see it correctly.
Yes, thanks, Evan.
Thank you for the confirmation, Emily. So I'm going to run through some changes that we've made to the FHIR API implementation guide. So here in the homepage of the IAG, the most important update is that we have provided some updated samples. And also we have updated the release package. So this is the release package you can download. You can download all the profiles to set up on your machine locally and validate API locally. I will touch on this towards the end of the presentation. But to start us off, I would like to go to the artifact summary because here we can find all of the profiles that are associated with API. Initially here at the top, we can see all the base profiles. These are the profiles for bundle, list, and composition. And if we scroll down a little bit further, we can see the profiles for the QRD validations. First for CAP documents, the SMPC Annex 2 labeling and package leaflet. And then we can find the QRD profiles for NAP documents, the SMPC labeling and package leaflet. Keep in mind that these are the profiles for the English documents. We will see later where we can find the profiles for the different EU languages. So just to take a quick review, let's look at the SMPC. This is the QRD profile for the SMPC. If we scroll down here, we can see the table defining all the elements that we can find in the composition of the SMPC. Not much has changed here initially. These are the standard structure of the SMPC. We demoed this in the past, so not much has changed here. What has changed is the sections. In the sections now, we can see the RMS code for the section. And we can see here in the title, for example, this is the SMPC. So this is the parent section for the SMPC. We can see that this is the parent, so all other sections are children of this. We can also see here in the cardinality, this is very important. This section is one-to-one. So this section must appear once and only one time. Similarly, moving on to section 1, name of the medicinal product. Again, we can see the RMS code and we can see the cardinality that this section is mandatory, one-to-one. So moving on, what I would really like to point out is here in the custom blank subsection. So this is a new addition to the RMS list for API for the quality review of documents template. We can now see the RMS code for blank subsections. You can see here in the cardinality that, of course, a custom blank subsection is not mandatory. It is 0 to many. So you can either have 0 blank subsections or many. And of course, the title is up to the user. These sections are not defined by the QRD template. Instead, the user can apply any title that they need for the product information documents. So here in this profile, you can see the exact location where you can add custom subsections and where you cannot. So if you scroll, you can see exactly, you know, for this section, for example, you cannot add a blank subsection underneath. So yeah, this is what we're looking at here at the SMPC. So these profiles are fairly sophisticated, and when they are used properly, we can use them to validate an API against the EU API Common Standard, and we can ensure that all mandatory sections are present in the API and that they are in the correct order. Okay, so that is the SMPC. You can find the QRD profiles for all the other documents again here on this list. Okay, so whether you want to look at the SMPC Annex 2 and labeling package leaflet, they're all located here. I would like to point out some other changes, and we can look at these changes in the value set. In the value set for the SMPC, you can see here that we have provided all of the RMS codes and the corresponding display name for that section. And if we scroll down, we can see the new custom blank subsection terms. So here we can see ending in 433. This is a level 4 custom blank subsection for the SMPC, and also ending in 44347. This is a level 5 custom subsection. So that is a little bit about the SMPC. We can also see the same value sets for the package leaflet. And in the package leaflet, you're only allowed to have a level 3 custom blank subsection. So we can see that here and the corresponding RMS term value. Some other changes that we have made, mostly affecting the package leaflet, is that in the package leaflet, sometimes there are cases where you have to select a verb or a specific word. And traditionally in the QRD template, these words were surrounded by a greater than and less than symbol. However, this is not ideal for Fire API because these are special characters that are reserved for the XML nodes. So because of that, we have actually changed the characters to square brackets. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. If you're validating against our profiles, these values will be validated and they need to have the new square brackets. Additionally, we have updated the URI for the coding system. So all coding systems now have this base URI that I have highlighted on the screen. So that is a little bit about the profiles and the value sets. Now I would like to go to the biggest update that we've made to the IG, is that we have provided some updated samples. So this first link here are samples in English. These are CAP documents in English containing the SMPC Annex 2 labeling and package leaflet. We have also created a bundle collection in Spanish. So this is an SMPC and package leaflet in Spanish. And this last sample that we have created here are English documents. These are CAP English documents. However, they are a bit different because we have provided comments. If I go to Notepad here, I can display exactly what we have done. So we have provided, this is a XML, this is a bundle type document of a package leaflet. And we have provided comments. We have described all of the different elements that you can find in the XML. For example, here, when you validate locally in the meta of the composition, you have to provide the profiles that you want to validate against. So here we are describing just that. In this example, this is a package leaflet, a CAP document, and it is in English. So if you're just getting started with API, or you want to find, get a little bit more detailed information about the structure of the API and what the different elements are, you can review this document and get a little bit more information about the API. So that is the commented version. And last but not least, what we have provided down here is the release package. So this second link, when you click on this, you can download all of the base profiles. These are the base profiles in English for CAP and NAP documents. And then this third link here is what we have done is we have separated all of the QRD profiles in languages. We have a separate folder for each language. So you can download all of this and extract whatever language that you would like to validate your APIs against. So together with all the profiles, and if you don't have any APIs, you can use our samples. You can validate API locally on your machine. I will not be demoing this today, but we have created a knowledge article. So in the PLM portal, we have published a knowledge article. We have given a written step-by-step guide on how to download the Fire command line Fire Validator. What profiles and what resources you need to download from the IG. We have described again that you need to, if you want to validate locally against the QRD profiles, you need to cite the URL and the meta tag of the composition. And we have also provided, for example, an example command line parameters that you need to run to validate API locally on your machine. So in addition to this written guide, we have also created a 10-minute walkthrough guide on how to validate locally. So together with all the information that you can find on the IG and our QRD profiles and our written guide on how to run the command line Fire Java Validator, we hope that users out there creating API can take all of these resources and validate locally on their machine to get ready for future Fire import UATs and also the implementation of API. So that is the end of the demo for today. I look forward to updating everyone in June.
So thank you very much, Libby and Evin, for that very nice demonstration of API. We have quite substantial, big list of questions. So we have 5 minutes. We'll try to answer as many as we can. And for the question we don't have to answer, or we don't have the answer now, we will make sure we have a written answer, and it will be published on the system demo on the event page on the corporate website. So the first question is about OTC medicines, for which is not mandatory to carry FMD2D data matrix. What code should be used for these products?
We can use the linear barcode for those products. So in fact, you know, that's a short answer, but the long answer is that we're hoping with the paper to really stimulate this discussion and to have all actors and stakeholders in the API ecosystem think about this. But there are already great examples in the Nordic countries where OTC products can be scanned with the linear barcode. The most important thing is the data carrier identifier, that number that can link the API to the right number in the barcode.
Thank you very much, Libby. So the next question is about API timeline. Is there a place you can find the API timeline?
This, I can understand the question, you know, and I know it's an important question, and we have not got detailed timelines published yet. We definitely plan to implement API well in advance of the new pharmaceutical legislation, for example. But the reason we don't have a detailed roadmap published yet is because we're still in full development mode. You can see in our system demos and in the next one, we're still developing new functionalities. We have challenges ahead. We still have yet to do a wide UAT on Fire import. So it's difficult to give very confident timelines when we are in that sort of mode. So it will be coming. We will be giving more precise timelines as we overcome some of the big developments that we have yet to come. However, in the pilot report that we published in December, we've listed, you know, on page 1 of the report exactly what we have left to develop and exactly what we have left to do. So I think so far it gives a good impression of where we are and how soon we will be implementing.
So thank you very much, Libby. And the next question, I think, is linked to the previous one. When will API go live?
We will go live as soon as we can. You know, we already went live early with an MVP for pilot. It showed us that we had things left to do, and they are clearly outlined in the pilot report. And when we have done those, we will go live. And we feel, you know, that it's not really valuable to provide inaccurate timeline now. I think people can tell that we're, you know, moving towards that goal, but we will provide more precise timelines as soon as we can have some confidence in them.
So thanks, Libby. And the next question is about the PMS ID. Why not to use it directly rather than to go through the data carrier identifier? Is there a plan for that?
Well, this is the kind of discussion that we want to stimulate now. This is why we are now choosing to open for any member of the public to make any proposals or suggestions. You know, we have a code already on the box of prescription medicines in the EU. So we have this huge, I think, head start. And you can look in the December demo and you can see that we can already link and get that number already into the EPI FHIR. And we're interested in hearing all stakeholders' opinions on the way forward and on how this could be implemented in future. So we're open, and that's why we are not the experts, and also we're not the ones maybe who will be doing this work necessarily. So we want to stimulate this discussion.
So thank you very much, Libby. The next question is about the roadmap of linking EPI to IDMP SPOR, so to PMS, I think.
We have it. It's in the December sprint demo. We have the PMS ID. The products can be linked to the individual EPI documents, and the FHIR will contain the PMS ID. And we know the PMS colleagues will also have an API. So we already have the ability to link EPI to the PMS products. And of course, as time goes on and the EPI standard matures and more use cases come, we may incorporate additional data into the EPI message. For now, our very important use case that we're thinking of is getting the EPI into the hands of patients. And that's why we're linking right now to the PMS ID and to the data carrier identifier from SPOR. So it's already there.
Thank you, Libby. That's a good news. And the next question is about when EPI become mandatory to be present at PLM portals. So I think we are back to the go live. Or
well, it's more about the legislation also, to be honest with you, Jean-Michel. So let's see what the legislation brings as well. We may be a voluntary implementation initially as regards mandatory use. That also depends on what the legislation will contain.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand now. And now we are back to the connection PMS, PLM portal, the FHIR API, how it's connected to PMS.
Actually, it's a separate link. So to go to the FHIR API, I think we have that. We definitely have that link on the EMA corporate website page about EPI. Please go to the API, and there you can use the different endpoints and get the EPIs that we have there. Not a massive number. We have some numbers. We have some from the pilot. So there is a link on the EMA corporate website EPI page.
So thank you very much, Libby and Evin. Unfortunately, we don't have more time to take more questions. It's unfortunate, but we will make sure you have the answer in writing, and it will be published on the corporate website. Thank you again for the demo on EPI. So now let's move to the another electronic, but this one, it's the electronic application form. And for people who just join us, I would like to remind you how to give your feedback or comments or ask your questions. You have two options to do that through Slido. Is to either use the Q&A to have a public question, comments, which will be answered verbally at the end of the demo if time permits, and if not, we'll make sure you get the answer in writing. Then the option 2 is through the poll, and in that case, the comment or feedback will go directly to the team, and if you identify yourself, the team will be able to answer to you. Don't forget to switch to the right room for the right product. So here now we are moving to the electronic application form EAF. And without further ado, I give the floor to Christina. Over to you.
Thank you, Jean-Michel. Welcome, everyone. So I'm Christina Pusari from the EAF team. And I'd like to give you an update from our very productive first quarter of the 2025. So we can move to the next slide. This is our updated timeline slide, which will be published very shortly. Why we wanted to introduce is to just to highlight this great achievement that we had in this first quarter, which was of course the go live of the optional use for the human variations EAF supporting non-centrally authorized products and procedures. So we are now live for all EU procedures with the web-based application form. So this has been a very long-awaited release. It has gone smoothly, very well, maybe even better than we had hoped to expect. And as a result of this very smooth go live, we are now also preparing to launch a recommended use of this web-based application form for non-centrally authorized products. This will happen in Q2. We don't have an exact date yet. I think it'll be somewhere around May, perhaps early in the first half of May, but we will of course announce these news. Then meanwhile, we have been working on many different aspects, some new functionalities, some user interface improvements, some incremental release of maintenance things, stabilization, optimization, but it has been a very, very good and productive quarter. So these are our main news for this quarter and the upcoming quarter. But if we look at the next slide, the details of what did we actually do. So here, as I mentioned, the optional use for non-caps, this was our biggest news. Then we have implemented a new UX design for the create new application form. So this is just to bring in line the PLM portal pages. We're implementing a new EMA template into all the pages. This unfortunately doesn't yet include the functional improvements implementation. So you will have a new look and feel, but the functions are still the same. So there is many usability improvements that will come as a part of this new user interface design, but they will only be implemented in Q3 of this year. Similarly, we have been working hard on the product selection improvement. Again, this will go live on the 31st of March. So it's our, let's say, a last major deliverable of this first quarter of the year. Again, here you will get the new look and feel, but there's quite a number of usability improvements that again will arrive in Q3 this year. So now we're just aligning the look and feel of the different pages. This is not certainly the only things we've done. So we have stabilized the functions in the present and proposed section and in the proof of payment section. You'll see a quick demo later on. We have been working on the declaration section, the contact person section. We've done a lot of general performance improvements and a lot of bug fixes. And one thing that I can't unfortunately show you today, but which has been quite an achievement, is building the foundations for our structured data implementation. So this in practical terms means connection between the EAF pages and the product UI pages that Marcos presented earlier today. So I won't be demonstrating that today because it will only be implemented at a later stage in the EAF, but we have now made this very, very important achievement on building this foundation to implement that work when we're ready to bring it to the users. We can move to the next slide to look at one of our other big achievements, which is of course the integrity sum feature. So this means that when you finalized the form in the PLM portal, and this is important distinction, when you use the finalize function, the form will be locked and it will be moved to the completed tab. But at that point, a an uncertified, and I want to emphasize the word uncertified digital signature called EAF integrity warranty will be included in the exported PDF. This at this point is an uncertified signature because it is not a signature added by a person, but by a system. So we felt it doesn't matter that we don't have the certificate for it. We have received user feedback that it would be ideal if the certificate it would be certified, and we are working on this, but the certification will take some time and we need to wait. But for meanwhile, we are happy to use this uncertified digital signature. And of course, you can always include another additional digital signature into the form. So if there are procedures that require a signature by the applicant, either because of your company requirements or by the requirements of the national competent authority, a digital signature can be added on top of this integrity stamp. However, what is not possible is to include an image of a signature or a simple non-certified Adobe signature. That is no longer possible when the integrity stamp has been included into the form. And just important note, there is no integrity stamp in the legacy interactive EAF PDF form. So this strictly is this feature is strictly for the PLM Portal EAF. So please don't worry that you can't have it or you don't have it in the interactive forms. If you're using those, it is not relevant for those forms. And important also to note that in future, we are looking to implement a requirement for mandatory use of this integrity stamp. We will be launching a lot more information and we will announce a date when it will become mandatory. After the use of the stamp is mandatory, forms submitted without it will be rejected by the regulators, but this is not going to happen now immediately. There are still some aspects that we need to look into before we will move into the mandatory use of the integrity stamp. And we can move forward. And just as a quick reminder, we have some known issues and some bugs in the system. We are continuously reviewing these bugs and we are implementing fixes as quickly as we can. And depending, of course, on the severity of the bug and how many users are impacted by certain issues. Today, I would like to highlight just one important issue. It's not really so much of a bug in the system. However, currently the system allows you to have duplicate roles for same organization. This when this happens, so for example, you have an applicant manager and an applicant coordinator role for the same organization. You start working on your electronic application form in the system, but suddenly you can't save or another issue appears. This is most commonly caused by this duplicate role issue, but it is obviously not clear for the user why such a things would appear, and they're normally things that seem like they're a bug in the form, but they're not a bug per se, but they relate to this user role conflict. So if you are detecting some unusual behavior in the EAF when you're filling it in, please do check your roles. You don't need two roles for the same organization. This issue doesn't appear if you have same role for two different organizations, or if you have different roles for different organizations. It is only if you have a duplicate role for the same organization. So please always check that and remove any duplicate roles. And it's important to remember that a higher role always contains all the rights of the lower role. Of course, if you're unsure, please do raise a ticket through the service desk and we can investigate, but we would suggest to monitor if you have duplicate roles and remove those because they can often solve the issues before they even occur. So I think we're then ready to move to the live demo. Let's see if I see. So I will now share my screen.
I can't see anything, Christina. Please try again. Oh yeah, now it's coming. It's
Is
coming.
it coming?
Yes.
I think
Brilliant.
oh, probably not what I wanted to show. There's
Oh.
something going on here that shouldn't. One moment.
That's part of it. It's okay.
I don't know what happened. Just one moment. Where is my screen that I actually want to share? It is definitely not the one that is up there. Here. This is the one. Just one moment. It should be coming up in a minute. There.
Yeah.
I hope you can see the PLM portal.
Yes, we can see the PLM portal, Christina.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I will now give you a quick demo of the latest features. So this is the create new application form. So this is already in production since last Monday. So we have implemented the new user design here. So it is very similar to the old screen, but slightly different. But as this is linked to the or the next step is the selection of the new products. I will display this here. And then when you're selecting your reference member state, you will of course get the list presented here and you can select your organization. There is really no change to the addition of the co-authors at this point, but we have brought the organization details here so that they are nice and easily visible and slightly larger. Of course, at this point, if you wish to change the organization, you can simply remove it and you can launch the search again, or rather launch the list again. And we will select and we will move to the next step. So once the form is being created, we can see the co-authors who have access to this application, and we can add further co-authors, either from the same organization or from a different organization. So this has not changed. So we can move forward and we can have a look at the feature of the addition, adding a product with this new user design. So once we have created this form, it shouldn't take too much longer. Just I'm presenting this from the test environment just to be able to show you this feature. So this is the new product selection. So now you can see that we have the new look and feel here. It is similar to the implementation in the proposed changes section. So this is now the new design that we will be implementing across all different pages during the Q2. So this will come to you next Monday. So you can see that we have changed it a little bit. It doesn't open anymore as the grid. This will change again in Q3 when we will bring also the usability improvements that I mentioned earlier. However, for now, this is the select product screen. So we will need to click here to launch the search grid. As previously, we have the different options for column visibility, so we can display the columns that we like to see. We can also edit the number of rows that will be visible when we're performing searches. For example, I will change this now to 100 rows, and we can then, of course, use the filter to find more information or define the search further. We can press enter, or we can press this magnifying glass. And when the products that are available according, for example, my search criteria become here, we can then see further details of the product. So this is one of the main improvements of implementing this. So you're already able to see more details of these specific products, which may help you to ensure that you're selecting the correct products into your application form. And you will simply click anywhere in the row to select these products, and you click save. To save time, let's have a look at how does it look if you go to a form where you have already selected some of the products. So here, if we have a look at the electronic applications form list, so these are the forms that you have previously created, and we click into the form. So in this particular form, I have already selected these particular products. So now I can then easily view the details of the selected products by expanding this. I can also go to add more products. And this is also how we remove already selected products. This is something that we have had some comments on. We will be improving it in future, so you no longer need to have this, in a way, conflicting select a product when you're actually removing a product, but this will come in Q3. But if we wish to, for example, remove a product, we can simply just untick and we click save, and the product will be then removed from the listing. So this is hopefully also already improving the usability of the form, even though not all of the features that are the main ones to improve usability have already been implemented. So that is the main change that will come on next Monday. Then if we have a very, very quick look at the implementations or the changes that we implemented also, which was the stabilization of the proposed changes section. So for example, here, if we include text and we want to go and add changes, we will get a pop-up saying, you have made some changes, but you didn't save them. Would you like to save these changes? So we will now prevent an accidental loss of changes, which is of course very important. And we have also removed the mandatory use of the section title. So you can include a section title if you wish, but you don't have to. So you can just simply click to go forward. And then you can proceed to edit the present and proposed fields. You can add multiple different present and proposed fields. You can go and use the add package feature here. From there, and you can link scopes to the products where applicable. And I will finally also very quickly show the improvements that we made to the proof of payment section. Here you can see that we have not yet implemented into this particular section the new UX design. So you will still see these old blue and white designs in certain sections. Before end of the quarter, we will hopefully have implemented it all across the different sections of the application form. So here the main change, what we have done for the proof of payment, is mainly for the non-centrally authorized products. And here it's easier now to include payment details for those member states for which a fee has been paid, and there is a separate section where fee prepayment has not been made. So those are the main changes that I wanted to display today in this demo. And we can now move to the questions and answers. We should have a few minutes left.
So thank you very much, Christina. Yes, we have 4 minutes left, so I think, yeah, we can take some questions. So the first question is about when will be an import functionality to import Fire messages with data to fill or create a VEF. Is that something?
So this is something that we have got in our, let's say, long-term roadmap. It is not yet something that we have started to implement. So we felt that initially it is important that we provide the features in a user interface. And once we have a little bit more maturity on the user interface, we will move to look at the implementation of the API or functionality where you would be able to import XML for this EAF, but this is not yet planned in the next quarters for this year.
Thank you. And the next question is about the renewal form. So you can.
Yes, again, so we do have a roadmap, a long-term roadmap for the other forms in addition to the human variation form to be added into the PLM portal. Again, for example, the human and veterinary marketing initial marketing authorization application form, the renewal form, and the veterinary variations form. These will come in future. However, we will not have specific dates for implementation of these next forms.
Thank you very much, Christina. Then we have a question about the will you implement updated version of the web? Yes, Will there be a version to use or continue to use for ongoing application while the new version is already available for preparing new application?
So when there are more significant changes, so let's think for example, now the amended variation regulation for which some further changes will be implemented later this year, there would be, in a way, versioning. For some changes, we don't have to implement versioning the same way as we have to do with the interactive PDF. However, for some things, it may be required. However, it will be built into the system so that it shouldn't be too much of an effort for the user. So basically, if you need to continue updating a form for an ongoing application, the system should know that. But we are looking into how do we do this when we have more major changes. We haven't had a specific case as of yet, because, for example, with the latest changes on the amended variation regulation, we were able to launch the use for the non-caps only after that deadline. But we do have, let's say, a draft strategies in place how we do this.
Thank you very much, Christina. I think we are at the end of our API demonstration. Thank you very much. And we will answer in writing of a question we didn't have time to answer verbally, and it will be published on the event page of that system demo. Thank you very much, Christina. And now let's move to the Union product database. And before we move forward, I would like to remind you how you can interact with the team. So we'll go through Slido, and you have two options. One is by using Q&A in Slido, which will make your questions and answer public. If we have time, we will answer the question verbally at the end just after the demo. And for the rest, we will answer in writing and we will publish them on the event page. Then you have a second option. By using the poll, then your feedback or question will be directly to the team and won't be published publicly. So, but if you want an answer, please identify yourself. And then don't forget to switch to the correct room. So here we are talking about UPD. And without further ado, I will give the floor to Behan. Over to you.
Thank you, Jean-Michel, and good morning to all colleagues connected today. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, same as on the PMS side, as mentioned by Marcos earlier today, we are going to a transitional phase and a change between providers. And despite the challenges around that, we have managed to finalize a few items which on which we have started working already in late 2024, and these are the items that I will be presenting today. There won't be a system demo because we had some live events, and I'll also provide you with some further updates and what to expect soon in April. Okay, the first item is about the new industry read only API. And up until now, only the only way for the industry to access UPD was either the public portal or via the restricted portal. And since end of January, there is a read-only API, which allows automatic search, browse, export, determine changes to the data, and keep the data current with their local systems. They have a full read to their product portfolio, and where you can find available guidance, you will see the links. I'm not gonna mention each one of them, but each one of them is really important, and I encourage all the colleagues to read them. And there is more information on the agency web page with the link to the event page that we had for the industry webinar on the 27th of February last month. Next slide, please. Okay, now about the other main important API, which we have also released end of January, is the read-only API for the general public. And as well, the guidance and the links to with further information regarding this API are also available, and you will be able to log in via those links and read more about that API. But it is important to note that unfortunately, under the current API configuration, does not provide access to the SPC, the package leaflet, and the labeling, as well as the public assessment reports. For the time being, members of the general public will have to continue using and downloading that information from the public portal. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, the next important change in relation to the APIs is for the National Competent Authority APIs. The Product and Procedures API is available to the National Competent Authorities since the MVP, since the UPD Go Live, which was in early 2022. And what we have done, we have upgraded that API for products and procedures from version 2 to version 3, and the version 3 requires a different authentication. And in order to access the member states that are using that type of API, will have to switch to the token access by the end of June. We have emailed to the all NCAs that are currently using the API. We strongly encourage them to do such switch as soon as possible, and definitely first to test in a UAT, and then after the transition, we will stop supporting the version 2 for external systems, meaning that the national competent authorities will really need to switch. And while I'm still on the APIs, I want to mention that soon we're going to launch a survey for between the member states to gather more information about the use of APIs. Because we have the volume of sales API for national competent authorities, the VNRA API for member states, and also the products and procedures API for national competent authorities. The National Competent Authority API for products and procedures, unfortunately, there is a very low intake. I believe that we have only 7 member states that are using that API. And this also explains why the workload via the UI is significant for the member states. The VNRAs are the vast majority of the daily work for the national competent authorities colleagues. There is no member state that it is currently using the VNRA API, despite the fact that this is available since October 2023. And currently only Austria is trying to make changes at their end in order to start to using this VNRA API. The volume of sales API for the member states is also with a very, very low intake from the member states. I think that there are only few, and Spain is one of the users. So with that survey that we are going to launch soon between the member states, we would like to understand what are the challenges, why the intake of available APIs at such a low level from the national competent authorities. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, colleagues, you need from member states and from the industry, you are well aware that since end of January, there is a new implementing act which will trigger changes to the VNRA list, and it will start to apply on the 20th of April 2025. That new list of VNRAs, basically the new implementing regulation, will require significant changes to the VNRA list, 54 changes in total. 2 VNRA codes are going to be deleted, but we have made sure that the submissions made before that will be able to be processed, respectively, accepted or rejected. We have 6 new VNRA codes and also 46 existing VNRA codes. The descriptions, the requirements will also be changing for these codes. We have worked together with the RMS team, and we are going to make those changes visible in production by the 25th of April 2025, and all industry and NCA colleagues have been informed about those changes by email. Next slide, please. And this is my last slide. A reminder that we also have a UPD email functionality. There is a possibility for the super users with available guidance also on the public portal how to subscribe and whether it will be the NCA or the MAH, but they have the possibility to receive in mailboxes to receive notifications for creation of products, for updates of products, for deletion of a package or modification of a package. Unfortunately, here the intake is very low. Last time when we checked, there are only 54 organizations that have subscribed. 8 are national competent authorities, and the rest are market authorization holders. We are working on a further guidance and material which we aim to publish by the end of April on the agency website. And we believe that with this information, you will be able to subscribe and have a higher intake. Okay, that's my last slide, Jean-Michel.
Thank you very much, Bean. So we have some questions. I think I'm waiting for the Slido to come back on the stream. Yes, thank you, Emily. So we have one question about the definition of the terms on the items of the action drop-down list, such as bulk upload docs UCD, bulk upload doc files. So is there a kind of online help or a way to know how those things correspond to?
Okay. The APIs that have been developed for the UPD are the first 3 years we spent a lot in investing for API use for the national competent authorities. It is possible to read, it is possible to create products, it is possible to update products. It is possible to read a volume of sales data. It is also possible to manage variations not requiring an assessment. And I am unable to understand what an ad hoc use, it's not considered an API use. No, an ad hoc use is, in my opinion, it was a one-off to upload the data that the member states have done before the MVP and the go live of the UPD. But in order to reduce the workload, we believe that the future is more integration via API.
Thank you very much, Bean. But I was asking the other question is the opposite. I think Bean.
I do apologize.
I will repeat the first question. So thanks for the answer on the API use. So the first question was about the terminology or the help to be able to understand what the drop down list items are, what their meanings is really.
Okay. The explanation about those is, in my opinion, this is available in the chapters. In the UI, it is possible to go into the UPD. You can go to the notifications. You can filter and narrow down, and you are able to search for a certain period of time. And this is also it allows the users to see whether products have been created between, let's say, in the last 3 months. It is possible to see whether the products were updated and go to that, whether it was a transfer, upload of a document, deletion of a document. And the definition is by, the users. It is my expectation that the users should know. If there are any more questions or need, please liaise with the SMEs and we can look into this, but I'm pretty sure that this is available and clear for the caseworkers that are dealing with this on a daily basis.
Thank you very much, Bean, for your answer. And I think we are coming to the conclusion of this public system demo. Thank you very much, Bean. And before we close with broadcast, we'll make sure we give you the next date for the next public system demo, which is the 26th of June. So be aware that date have changed since yesterday because unfortunately we have some event taking precedence, so we have to change the date of the next system demo. So it will be the 26th of June instead of the 25th. With that, see you at the next system demo. I wish you a good day, and thank you very much for everyone for your feedback, your question, your comment, and have a good day. Bye-bye.